What's up again there, guys? Brian here, D3 Topics here to share with you my official movie review for the newly released sequel to the last Sonic movie, simply titled being Sonic 2. And this movie was directed, I believe, by Jeff Flower. I hope I said that right. And stars Jim Carrey and James Marsden, returning from the last movie. And I'm going to try to get this review up as quickly as I can because I'm running out of sun, so I don't want to get too dark. But just quick summary, just to get it out of the way. Overall, I really enjoyed watching Sonic 2. I certainly did end up enjoying it a bit more than the first film. It's not perfect and there's definitely some flaws, but I think that anyone that had a good time with the first film is absolutely going to enjoy this film even more. Now, just to give you a little bit of the plot without spoiling anything, because I don't want to spoil anything. So this film takes place immediately after the events of the first film, and since then Sonic has been going around Seattle trying to pretty much save people, yet he's causing a mess. While that's happening, Dr. Robotnik, still on the Mushroom Planet, happens to encounter Knuckles, who's trying to recover the Master Emerald, and believes that Sonic is a threat to doing that. So Knuckles and Dr. Robotnik team up, they make their way to Earth, and then attack Sonic. But while that was happening, Tails, on his home planet, was actually tracking the entire events of the first film, and the moment he heard that Knuckles was teaming up with Dr. Robotnik, he made his way to Earth in order to warn Sonic. So right now, Sonic and Tails are pretty much in a bit of a race with Knuckles and Dr. Robotnik in order to recover the Master Emerald and prevent it from being used for evil ways. Now, overall, I think the film was, as I said, pretty good. I certainly did enjoy it more than the first film. I think the introduction of more Sonic character, therefore we go more into the Sonic lore, is really a major plus. As opposed to the first film, which felt more like just like a buddy road trip. This focuses certainly much more on the classic story and incorporates a lot of story elements from the traditional Sonic lore. And I think that fans of Sonic, or old school Sonic from the 90s, are going to enjoy that. I think that all the performances across the board were absolutely top notch. I think that James Marsden comes back, does a great job in his role, interacting with Sonic and his friends. Jim Carrey, again, he's classic Jim Carrey. He's the Jim Carrey I grew up watching. He's absolutely phenomenal. Every single scene he's in, he completely steals the show. I'm not going to say he steals all the shows, but just anytime he's on screen is absolutely golden. I thought that Idris Elba's performance as Knuckles was probably the standard of the entire film. When I first heard that Idris Elba had been cast as Knuckles, I wasn't sure how that was going to work, but I can clarify that he's hilarious in like a serious way. Like, this is classic Knuckles. This is perhaps my favorite interpretation of the character, much better than recent interpretations have done with the character. So if anyone has not been a fan of the more recent takes of Knuckles and would like him to go back to his old school 90s ways, you're absolutely going to get it here, and it is absolutely hilarious. Tails is in this film, and he does a great job. He has a number of standout moments and is not just there to take up screen time. He's very effective and does a lot to help move the plot forward. And he and Sonic, it doesn't really take long for them to form a really strong friendship and just form that bond that, you know, fans of the series have known about. And he's pretty smart as an inventor and creates some pretty crazy stuff. The action set pieces are amazing. There's a number of major surprises that even I didn't see coming, but I think if you're a fan, you could probably maybe predict that maybe they'll happen or not. But when they do happen, it's absolutely amazing. Now, where I think the film kind of falters a little bit is in two aspects. Number one, I think that Sonic's overusing of catchphrases is kind of old. I mean, Sonic very rarely has any actual lines. He's just saying a bunch of catchphrases. He's ostensibly Spider-Man that can move really fast. And while that worked in the first film, despite Sonic still being kind of a kid, I kind of wish he had grown up just a little bit more. I mean, I know not that much time has passed, but I wish they had kind of tightened that up a little bit. And when both he and Robotnik are throwing just punchlines at each other back and forth, it does start to get a little bit old, especially throughout the entire film. Another element that I just think kind of didn't quite mesh as well is the scenes that don't involve Sonic and the Sonic characters. There's this whole plot line with James Marsden and his wife going to this wedding, and it it just feels like it stretched out longer than it needed to be. It just felt like any time the plot was really going and moving at a good pace, with Sonic and Tails trying to recover the Master Emerald, it would just zip back to this wedding, and it just like the whole plot just kind of stops. And I think if they had tidied up a little bit, I think it would have been a little bit more acceptable. In fact, there's a whole major twist with this wedding that I don't think works at all, because that introduces elements later on in the film that just kind of make me question, how did this happen? I mean, it's just something that I don't think really worked as well as it could have been in, say, like the first film. And I think that the introduction of the human characters, you're getting to the point where I'm not saying the human characters feel like they're like forced in, but with us moving more into incorporating more Sonic lore elements that are far more interesting than what is happening with the human characters, it's just difficult to have them have a significant role. And that really does not happen until like the very end of the film, where they actually play a real role in what is going on with the situation. But up until that point, they're just kind of there in this storyline that I just wasn't interested in. And clearly my audience wasn't interested in, because the kids that I was seeing this with, because I was in a theater full of kids, anytime we went back to this wedding scene, they were bored, and I could tell they were bored. They just wanted to get back to the action and find out what is going on with Sonic and Tails taking on Robotnik and Knuckles, and that's what I wanted to focus on. And this movie is over 2 hours long. I think if they had shaved off like 15 minutes and tightened it up a little bit, it would have worked a little bit more. I think the pacing would have been much more precise, even if you incorporate these wedding scenes, which, again, I wasn't a big fan of, and I think if they'd shortened it up a little bit, it would have worked a little bit better. But again, that doesn't still hurt this film too much, and I still did have a fantastic time. When this movie is moving at a great pace, and the action is going, it is absolutely phenomenal, and in some elements, it absolutely tops anything you saw in the first film. So if I had to give Sonic the Hedgehog 2 a rating, I would absolutely, without question, give it an A. Again, if you really like the first one, I find it very difficult that you won't like this, if not like it even more, because there's just so many things that are just taken to the next level, and that's something that I think anyone who's a fan of Sonic will absolutely enjoy. So that is my review of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. If you did happen to enjoy this review, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep track of me on my future reviews and videos that I'll be uploading for the rest of the month. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.